Imagine this, 1927, deep in the barren desert of Peru. An archaeologist, Giulio Tello, unearths a vast and complex graveyard. But what he finds inside isn't just ancient pottery or textiles. He discovers dozens of human remains with skulls unlike any he's ever seen. They are massive, bizarrely elongated, and eerily alien in appearance. These are the Paracas skulls, and for nearly a century they have posed one of the most perplexing and controversial questions in archaeology. Are these simply the result of an ancient practice, or could they be evidence of something else entirely? Welcome, everyone, and get ready to dive deep into a mystery that blurs the line between history and science fiction. Today, we're exploring the enigmatic Paracas skulls. The story begins on the Paracas Peninsula, a starkly beautiful but unforgiving landscape. It was here that the Paracas culture flourished between roughly 800 BC and 100 BC. They were master weavers, creating some of the most intricate and colorful textiles ever found in the Andes. But it's their dead who tell the most fascinating story. When Tello uncovered that necropolis, he found over 400 mummies perfectly preserved by the dry desert air. Many of them had these incredibly elongated skulls. Now, the initial explanation was simple: artificial cranial deformation. This is a practice we know has been used by various cultures all over the world, from the ancient Egyptians to the Huns and even some Native American tribes. The process is straightforward, if a bit unsettling. You bind an infant's head when the skull is still soft and pliable, using boards, cloths, or other tools. Over time, as the skull grows, it's forced into a new elongated shape. So, case closed, right? The Paracas people just liked con-shaped heads. Well, not so fast. This is where the story takes a sharp turn into the truly strange. For years, that was the accepted theory, but a local researcher and the former director of the Paracas History Museum, Brian Forster, began to highlight some very unusual characteristics that couldn't be easily explained by simple head binding. He claimed that these skulls weren't just deformed, they were fundamentally different. According to his research, while artificial cranial deformation changes the shape of the skull, it doesn't change its volume, weight, or basic structure. It's like squishing a ball of clay. You can make it long and thin, but you still have the same amount of clay. But the Paracas skulls, especially a subset of them, seemed to defy this logic. Forster pointed out that some of these skulls have a cranial volume that is reportedly up to 25% larger than the average human skull. Think about that for a second. The average human cranial capacity is around 1,400 cubic centimeters. Some of these Paracas skulls were measured at over 2,000 cubic centimeters. That's a massive difference. Not only that, but they are also said to be significantly heavier. If this is true, simple binding couldn't account for it. You can't add mass or volume that isn't there to begin with. The anomalies don't stop there. Let's talk about the structure of the skull itself. A normal human skull is made up of several plates connected by fibrous joints called sutures. We have two main plates on the top of our head called the parietal plates, separated by a line right down the middle, the sagittal suture. But according to proponents of the anomaly theory, some of the most extreme Paracas skulls are missing this suture entirely. They seem to have just one single parietal plate. This is a genetic trait, not something that can be achieved through binding. It would be like trying to bind your hands together to make them fuse into a single fin. It's just not how biology works. Another startling feature is the position of the foramen magnum, that is the large hole at the base of the skull where the spinal cord connects to the brain. In a normal human skull, it's positioned more towards the back. In some of these Paracas skulls, it's reportedly centered further back and has a different shape. This would imply a different posture and a different way of balancing that massive head on the spine. So you have larger volume, greater weight, different bone plate structure, and a repositioned spinal connection. Taken together, these features paint a picture of something that isn't just a modified human skull. This is where the theory gets really wild. Forster and others have suggested that perhaps the Paracas people weren't a single, homogeneous group. What if there were two distinct groups living side by side? One group of normal humans who practiced head binding to emulate the other group of ruling class, a priestly elite who were born with these features naturally, a group with genetically elongated skulls. If that's true, where did this separate race of humans come from? This question opened the floodgates to all sorts of speculation, from a lost branch of the human family tree to, yes, ancient alien intervention. To get to the bottom of this, Forster initiated DNA testing on samples taken from the skulls. In 2014, he released preliminary results from a geneticist that sent shockwaves through the fringe history community. The report claimed that the mitochondrial DNA, which is inherited from the mother, showed mutations unknown in any human, primate, or animal known so far. It suggested that the Paracas people might have been a new kind of human-like creature, very distant from Homo sapiens. The implications were staggering. Could these be the remains of a non-human species that interbred with humans in ancient Peru? However, it's absolutely crucial to approach these claims with a healthy dose of scientific skepticism. Mainstream archaeology and genetics have been highly critical of this research. For one, the DNA analysis was not published in a peer-reviewed scientific journal, which is the gold standard for validating any scientific claim. Without peer review, other scientists can't examine the methodology, check the data, and verify the results. Critics point out that ancient DNA is notoriously difficult to work with. It's often fragmented and easily contaminated by modern DNA from the people who handle it. So, could the unknown mutations simply be the result of damaged DNA or contamination? Many scientists think so. They argue that without rigorous, repeatable, and peer-reviewed studies, the DNA evidence is essentially meaningless. Furthermore, most archaeologists maintain that all the features of the Paracas skulls, including the perceived larger volume and missing sutures, can indeed be explained. Some forms of binding, especially those that use circular wraps, can create a more rounded, voluminous-looking skull, and the absence of a sagittal suture. While rare, it's a known medical condition called craniosynostosis, where the skull plates fuse prematurely. While having a whole population with this condition would be unusual, it's not biologically impossible. So we have two competing narratives. On one side, we have a compelling mystery fueled by anatomical anomalies and sensational DNA claims, suggesting a lost race or even extraterrestrial contact. On the other side, we have the measured, skeptical voice of mainstream science, which calls for more rigorous evidence and suggests that all the oddities can be explained by a combination of an extreme cultural practice and rare genetic conditions. What's fascinating is that the Paracas people themselves seemed to hold these elongated heads in extremely high regard. The most impressively elongated skulls are found in the most elaborate tombs, buried with the most beautiful textiles and precious goods. This suggests that whatever was going on, having a long head was a sign of nobility, power, and high status within their society. Perhaps they believed it brought them closer to their gods. Maybe they were trying to emulate mythical ancestors who they depicted in their art with these elongated heads. The why is just as mysterious as the how. So, what is the truth about the Paracas skulls? Are they just a testament to a fascinating and extreme body modification practice? Or are they the smoking gun for a chapter of human history that has been completely hidden from us? The jury is still out, and the debate rages on. The skulls remain silent witnesses locked in the desert sands, holding their secrets close. They challenge our understanding of our own past and force us to ask, what else do Antoine know about the people who walked this earth thousands of years before us? This is a story with no easy answers, which is what makes it so captivating. It's a puzzle where the pieces don't quite fit. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into one of history's most baffling mysteries. What do you think is the real story behind the Paracas skulls? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed exploring the unknown with us, please hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into the unexplained. We'll see you in the next video.